Hi, my name is Dr. Ryan Colburn, and I'm the veterinarian here at the John Ball Zoo. Wanted to take a few minutes today to spend some time discussing a topic that we think is really important for all members of the zoo team to be familiar with, and that's the concept of animal welfare. We have a couple of goals today, and the first is to make sure that we cover what animal welfare is and what it isn't, and why it's so important to us here at the zoo. It's important to make sure that everyone is familiar with what goes into providing good welfare, and ultimately, how you as a member of the John Ball Zoo team can impact the welfare of the animals here at the zoo. The AZA, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, defines animal welfare as the animal's collective physical, mental, and emotional states over a period of time, and that it's measured on a continuum from good to poor. Ultimately, what this really means is that when we talk about animal welfare, we're talking about the overall well-being of an animal. And that well-being can change from moment to moment, from year to year. And ultimately, here at the zoo, we're caring for animals, whether they are young baby animals that were just born this year, to animals that have been here with us for their entire lives and are now considered geriatric or senior animals. Their welfare or well-being will be different at all of those different points across the time of their life, but our goal is to make sure that we're doing our very best to provide the best well-being possible. When we take in all of those different parts of an animal's well-being, it's important that we consider that it's not only just physical, but it's also psychological. On the physical side, we're of course focused on things like providing an appropriate and safe environment for an animal to live in. We want to make sure that they are healthy and have all the necessary tools to live a healthy life with proper health care, and that we're providing them nutritious meals and access to clean, healthy water. But that's only a piece of the puzzle. We also want to focus on the psychological well-being, and that means that we're looking at the overall life of the animal, identifying sources of fear or stress, trying to mitigate those, finding opportunities to provide mental stimulation through either training or enrichment or activities built into a habitat, for instance. And ultimately, you'll hear us talking about encouraging species-specific behaviors. If you think about what's normal for a fish or a frog or an anteater, each species is going to have its own set of behaviors that would be considered normal. And it's our goal to make sure that we are providing opportunities for each animal in its individual habitat to exhibit those behaviors and live a natural, mentally and physically healthy life. Those are the elements that are incorporated into animal welfare and the things that are really important for us to take into account when we decide how to care for an animal here at the zoo. It is important to realize that animal welfare is sometimes a trigger word and one that gets confused for other topics within our society. Probably the most notable is when you hear it confused with animal rights. Those who advocate for animal rights are focused on the need for animals to have equal and equivalent rights to us as human beings. That's very different from the concept of animal welfare, which is a scientifically based focus on making sure that we are taking responsibility for the animals in our care and providing for that physical and psychological well-being that we were just talking about. But why is this also important? Ultimately, there are many reasons why it is important for us to consider animal welfare here at the zoo. First of all, it aligns directly with our mission. Here at the John Ball Zoo, we inspire people to be active participants in the conservation of wildlife and our natural environment. The way that we do that is providing opportunities for guests to come on our grounds and have interactions and opportunities to see animals they wouldn't see otherwise. Animals that are well cared for, that are healthy and showing those natural behaviors are all at the foundation of how we enact this mission, because it gives people a chance for them to come to our zoo and experience animals the way that we are intending for them to experience them. And seeing them well cared for helps advance our mission as a zoo. But not only that, it also aligns with our core values. We have several values here at the zoo that go to the heart of who we are and how we want to operate. Among them are these three. So excellence is one that we value here at the zoo. And as a professional animal care organization, it is our goal to be dedicated to providing excellent animal care that's focused on optimizing the welfare for animals here at the zoo. We also consider ourselves a customer-focused organization. And for most team members here at the zoo, that always generates the idea of how we interact with our guests. And that's extremely important. But if you think about some of us here at the zoo, whether we be zookeepers, veterinarians, veterinary technicians, for some of us, our primary customer is actually the animals that we care for. And so not only are we striving to provide an excellent guest experience, but some of us being customer focused means making sure the animals have an excellent experience here at the zoo as well. And lastly, we've recently added the core value of compassion to our list of values here at the zoo. And that has many implications as well. But from an animal welfare standpoint, having a focus on providing compassionate care to our animals through all stages of their life that focuses on their well-being and their wellness is critically important to what we do as a zoo. Lastly, it's really a responsibility. For most of us, we put that responsibility on ourselves because we do see the animals here as our responsibility to be stewards of their care. But not only is that responsibility something that's put on us internally, but we also do have to live up to the responsibilities that we have as a zoo as a member of our professional community, whether that be maintaining our USDA license as an animal exhibitor, operating under the Animal Welfare Act, or as we strive for the excellence expected by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, our accreditation relies on aligning with the growing standards that are geared towards improving welfare of zoo animals across the industry, not just here at John Ball. Over time, those standards have continued to focus on welfare and have provided increasing opportunities to increase that welfare regardless of what zoo you're working at. So what does it look like? As I mentioned, good welfare changes over time, and where an animal sits in that spectrum will change depending on what life stage that animal's in. Whether you're Yoshi, who is very young in this first photo, or if you're one of our Chaco tortoises that are one of the oldest animals here at the zoo, you are going to be wanting to live a life that has optimal welfare. And that may change over time, but there are many elements of what we do that go into that. Whether that be the hard work that our zookeepers put in every day to provide daily care of safe and clean spaces. We talk about opportunities for choice and control. So our exhibits are designed to provide different places to be and things to do so animals can choose what they're doing. And we find ways to minimize the stress and also optimize opportunities for positive interactions, whether that be positive interactions with other animals or positive interactions or relationships with the zookeepers. Our animal management team works very hard to make sure that we're considering all of these elements even from the very beginning. When we design a new habitat, we want to make sure that habitats encourage normal behaviors, that they provide those opportunities for choice, and that spaces can be enriching, spacious, and give all those opportunities to the animals that we have here at the zoo. Our keepers work together with our behavioral husbandry coordinator to make sure that we have a thoughtful enrichment program that is focused on species-specific behavioral goals. We provide activities, novel food items, novel scents, things to enrich the animals' lives and encourage them to show those species-specific behaviors. And for some animals, that goes a step further by participating in training programs. The training offers an opportunity to give mental stimulation, but it also allows for animals to participate in their own care in a way that's not stressful. So for some animals, while the arrival of the veterinarian might be stressful, if we do that through training sessions, it can actually be fun and give them a chance to participate. And speaking of my world, we also are focused on healthcare. So every animal at the zoo has a scientifically based diet geared to mimic the needs they have as an individual species and make sure that we're optimizing that to make sure that they're a healthy body weight and getting all the nutrients they need. We create preventive healthcare programs to make sure that animals are being monitored for health on a daily basis by their keepers, through wellness exams scheduled with our team, and that we're able to respond rapidly and effectively as soon as there's a medical concern, whether an animal is sick, uncomfortable, or needs additional care. All of these things go in on a daily basis to make sure that we're providing for that excellent welfare. In addition, in recent years, we have added a welfare assessment program, which is really exciting and something that I want everyone to be aware of. Our keepers work on very hard on a quarterly basis to perform assessments for every animal in the zoo based on animal behaviors as indicators for how they're doing. In addition to that, on an annual basis, the keepers, managers, behavioral husbandry coordinator, and my team work together to create a comprehensive, what we call input assessment, that evaluates all of the different programs and procedures that we're doing for the care of that animal or that species, and making sure that everything's in line with where we want it to be. All of these things allow us to work together as a team to monitor an animal's welfare over the course of its life, and we can make strategic changes as we go to respond to issues, but also to proactively find opportunities to continue to raise the bar and then find ways to improve animal welfare throughout the zoo. In addition, we have an animal welfare committee here at the zoo. There are many members across many departments that are part of this team, but they work together to get together quarterly to review the data that comes out of our animal welfare assessment process, to find proactive opportunities to improve welfare through the zoo. But we also react in a reactive way to any welfare concerns that might arise over the course of time and find ways to correct those as well. And that kind of brings us to how you as a member of the team can impact animal welfare here at the zoo. No matter what department you work in, you have an impact on the animals here in our care. All of the daily work that goes on throughout the zoo makes sure that our animals are well cared for, whether that's selling food in the Monkey Island Cafe and generating income that goes to feed the animals here at the zoo, or if that's working in the operations team and fixing a broken hinge or a broken door within an animal space. All of us impact the care that our animals receive. In addition to that, we all have watchful eyes and are watching the animals on a daily basis. If you see something unusual or something that you're wondering about, reach out to a member of the animal care team, either an animal zookeeper, or if you could reach out to a manager or your own manager and share that question. We actually have a formalized process here at the zoo to report animal welfare concerns. And those concerns are hopefully going to generate open communication about anything that's going on in the zoo. And they can come either from our guests or they can come from you, our staff and volunteers. In the instance of a guest that has a concern, we ask that everyone who is approached with a guest with a question, call for a 910 animal team member, so the zookeeper, that is caring for that animal. They can start the conversation and kind of answer any questions the guest might have. If it seems that the discussion is such that the concern rises above that initial set of questions, any member of the team can call on the radio and request a member of the Animal Welfare Committee to come and meet with that guest and have a further discussion. If that conversation doesn't resolve the issue and the guest is still concerned about what they're seeing, we actually have a formalized process in which we can file this as an animal welfare concern. These forms are located on the shared drive under institutional teams, the Animal Welfare Committee, and in a folder called Animal Welfare Concern Forms. The guest form looks like this and allows you to take the basic information from the guest about the animal involved, where the concern arose, if there was a staff member involved in that concern. We can assign it a category and then just an open spot to describe what the guest was seeing, what they're concerned about, and any additional information we might need. Additionally, we have a process to field these concerns coming from staff and volunteers as well. I always encourage that anyone with a question about animals, again, reach out to the animal care team and ask those questions. You can start with the zookeepers, but you can also reach out to the area curators or animal care supervisors, the 920s on duty, and they can help answer your questions. If for some reason you're not comfortable, you can start with your own manager as well. But if in the course of those processes, either you're not comfortable approaching any of those, which we hope is not the case, or if you've talked with members of the animal management team and you're still concerned about something that you're seeing, you can complete an animal welfare concern form under the staff and volunteer option, also found on the shared drive. These can be turned in directly to me. You can bring them to my office at the animal hospital. You can slip them in my mailbox, the hospital mailbox down in the front admin building, or you can send them through your managers through interoffice mail. You can include your name or choose to remain anonymous. That is completely up to you. But if you include your name, I want to be able to reach out and share not only what I find out about the situation, but also any possible resolution. Regardless of whether these concerns arise from a staff member, a member of our volunteer team, or from a guest, we will conduct a complete investigation here at the zoo to get as much information about that situation as possible. We will bring it to the Animal Welfare Committee for complete discussion, and then lay out a plan for what our course of action needs to be. That might be improved communication on a particular topic. It might be a change to a practice or a exhibit space. Whatever that may be, we will share that end result at the end in a final report of what's going to happen to address that particular welfare concern. So all said and done, animal welfare is a critical topic to what we do here at the zoo, and one that we think is really important to make sure that every member of our team is aware of, regardless of where in the zoo they're working. Remember that animal welfare is the overall well-being of animals. It includes their physical and psychological well-being, and it's our job to work together as a team to make sure we're providing excellent care and really strive for excellent welfare. No matter where you work in the zoo, you have an impact on that welfare, whether that's through generating income, providing direct care, or everything in between. No matter what happens throughout the zoo, there's never a dumb question. So if you see something you're curious about, reach out to a zookeeper, an animal care manager, myself, member of my team. We're happy to answer questions. If in the course of that, we identify something that's a welfare concern, we want to react to it. But we're also hoping that we've created a program here at the zoo through animal welfare assessments and the animal welfare concern process that provides a comprehensive, proactive, and reactive program to assess, monitor, and continually improve the welfare of animals that call John Ball Zoo home. Thank you for all the hard work that you put into your work here at the zoo and for being a member of what I think is one of the best teams. Thank you and have a good day.